My office is an organizational disaster. It might look fine on videos, but I have stuff shoved in closets, in drawers, under tables. It's just a nightmare. I want to get it cleaned up and I want to do something a little interesting with it. Now, I did have an organization system going into this. I was using these bins I found on Amazon. They suck. They come in 4 different sizes. They're supposed to interlock, but the sizes are too similar and not adaptive enough. Like they're not big enough for my bigger items. I want to build something to where everything in my office has a place to live and it fits in that spot. These are not it, so getting rid of those. This video is sponsored by Autonomous. The solution to the problem is Gridfinity. This was created by Zach Friedman. This is a 3D printable open organization system. Now, before anyone freaks out, 3D printing has actually become really accessible, both financially and ease of use. I recently got the Bamboo Labs A1 3D printer. This is an entry-level 3D printer that retails for around $300, but you can find it on sale from time to time. There's also a mini version of this one that retails around $220, but the printable area is a lot smaller, so the stuff that you can print isn't as big as the one that you can print on the full-size A1. What I really liked about the Bamboo Labs A1 3D printer was it was incredibly easy to get up and going. The instructions were very clear, and I was up and printing in not that long. I think maybe it took me an hour at the most to get set up and calibrated and start printing my first 3D print job. If you get any of the Bamboo Labs printers, you get access to this app right here. This is the Bamboo Handy app. And what's cool about this is if you have any Bamboo Labs printer, you can just browse this app, and this is where users can create and upload 3D models, and you can just find something you want to print. You just select it, you hit prepare to print, select next, and then you just start the print job and it'll start printing out to your printer of choice. And when it comes specifically to the A1 printer, it does a great job at scaling with you. So as you learn and want to do more advanced stuff with 3D modeling and 3D printing, you can do that. Of course, there are bigger and badder 3D printers that can do more than this, but for beginners and for the purposes of this video, everything that I'm going to do, you can do on this A1 printer. So I have 2 of these Husky tool chests right here. These are incredibly handy because they fit in my closet perfectly. I was able to fit 2 in here. Plus they store a ton of gear. I keep all like cables, adapters, batteries, camera gear, things I use for thumbnails, filming, general work stuff. I keep a bunch of stuff in here, but the issue with them is I was using those bins that I showed you at the beginning of this video, so that they just didn't work very well in here, or I was just throwing stuff in here and it wasn't organized. It wasn't an efficient use of space. I know I could fit a lot more in these tool chests if I organized them. So again, this is where Gridfinity comes in. So to get started with Gridfinity, you start with these plates right here. These are just 42 by 42 millimeter squares, and on my printer, I was able to print out a maximum of a 5 by 6 grid. Now I already went ahead and measured and printed everything, so I know these are gonna fit. I need 4 of these 5 by 6s in here, and you just put them in and you set them next to each other like this. And they're gonna squeeze in perfectly tight. I kind of got lucky. Not every drawer is gonna fit perfectly, but mine does. But then I have a little bit of space over here on the side, so I printed some 1 by 5s, and these will just give me just enough so I can get another row in there. Boom, perfect. So that is the grid right there. That is the basis of Gridfinity. But this is where the cool part comes in. This is where we start putting in our organization items. So this is where we start putting in the boxes where we're gonna put our stuff. So you'll notice whenever you print out something with Gridfinity is that there are these squares on the bottom, and guess what? They perfectly line up with the grid. Now, there are different kinds of things that you could print for Gridfinity. These right here are just empty shadow boxes, and I'm gonna link to all the things that I print in the description below, so if you're interested, you can find everything that I printed out here. Now, these shadow boxes are a variant of the Gridfinity shadow boxes because what they actually do is they snap in. Now, most Gridfinity stuff doesn't lock in place. You might need to do a magnet system if you want that, but these shadow boxes will actually lock in, so that way when you go to pick it up, it locks into the grid. So this way it always stays in place. Now, Gridfinity isn't just for empty boxes like this. You can also print out custom stuff as well, like this cable holder right here. This will hold 3 different cables and it has the grid system on the bottom just like the others, but this one doesn't lock into place. This one you can just lift right up. But you can just put cables in here like this one right here. This one particular fits 6 to 10 foot cables. There's dividers that you can get that take up the same 3x2 grid, but you can fit 6 smaller cables if you want. But this one just sits right into the grid right there. So I have a few of these that I'm gonna go ahead and put in here. All right, so we have drawer 1 completed. We have USB-C charging cables, CF Express card reader, weird USB-C cables, keys back there, charging bricks, HDMI capture card, MacBook Pro charger, USB-C dongles, lighter for candle, external batteries, Thunderbolt cables, 10 gigabit per second USB-C cables, and then external drives in the back there. So that is the first drawer, and we fit a lot in that first drawer, so I'm pretty happy with this. This video is sponsored by Autonomous. This is the Autonomous Desk 5 Core. This is a motorized sit-stand desk, and it has become essential to my office setup. It was incredibly easy to put together. I did it myself in about 20 minutes. The desk itself is extremely well built. It is a single motor that has a lifting capacity of 176 pounds. When moving up and down, it's extremely quiet, and it has a programmable keypad. The top of the desk is really smooth and a solid surface. It feels really good to work at. I love the little details when it comes to products, and one of my favorites about this desk is it has a built-in cable management system so you can keep everything nice and tidy underneath your desk. For me, this has become my maker desk. This is where my 3D printer lives. This is where I'm assembling projects. I've spent a ton of time recently working at this desk. I also have here the Ergo Chair Ultra 2 from Autonomous. This is an extremely comfy office chair. I've told this story in the past about how I have a bad back. I was in a car accident when I was younger and I just never quite bounced back from that. And certain office chairs can just absolutely destroy my back. But this one, well, it passes the bad back test. I've been able to sit in it for hours every single day and I don't have any problems. It has a breathable mesh material and memory foam, so it's comfortable to sit in, but it also has flexible ribs that align with your body. So the chair supports you and not the other way around. It also has really good lumbar support, so those with lower back problems are gonna feel supported. And when you recline back, the chair adapts to support you. I really love both of these products. They're gonna be a staple in my office setup going forward. I'm gonna put some links in the description below so you can check out the Desk 5 Core and the Ergo Chair Ultra 2. Use the code SETUPCL at checkout to get a 5% discount. My thanks to Autonomous for sponsoring this video. All right, so for the second drawer, this is where my primary camera gear is gonna go. This is, stuff like my R5, my C50, lenses, batteries, cards, GoPro, all that primary stuff that I use often. That's where this is gonna go. All right, so that is my camera drawer. You can kind of see some of this stuff has custom Gridfinity slots, others just using regular boxes. So like the R5 back here has a custom slot. This is where the C50 will go, C50's handle. Those don't. I want to make a custom slot for it, but my skill levels aren't quite there yet. But the Canon batteries, they all have custom slots, CF Express cards, SD cards, lens caps, batteries, other lenses. This is where my 24 to 70 would go, but I'm using that right now for this. ND filter has a custom spot, GoPro has a custom spot. But one thing I did come across when I was doing this drawer is when using these custom slots like this, the height of the items would be off. They wouldn't be level. And I wanted as much of this stuff to kind of be at the same level as possible in this drawer because it's a pretty deep drawer. But what's cool with Gridfinity is you can actually stack stuff. So if you look right here where this battery would go, there's just an empty box right here. And Gridfinity boxes can actually be stacked on top of each other. So if you just have empty shadow boxes and say I had something in here, but it wasn't something I needed all the time, I could put another layer on top of it if I wanted to, and I could keep stacking stuff as much as I wanted. So that's actually a really cool feature of Gridfinity. Now, if you are gonna do Gridfinity, the first thing I recommend you printing out before you print any grids or boxes or anything like that is this. This is a Gridfinity ruler, and it has numbers on it, not inches or anything like that. It's actually measurements of squares. So this one right here is 42 millimeters, that's 42 millimeters, so you can measure out how big of boxes you need for the things you want to organize. So this Zoom audio recorder, for instance, I can take this ruler and I can go, okay, it is going to be a little over 3 wide, so I'm going to need at least 4, and then measure it this way. It's a little more than 1, it's almost 1.5, so I'm going to need a 4x2 box for this guy right here. And then you can also use it to measure the height if you want as well, so that way you know how tall of a box you need. But this right here, this ruler is incredibly handy for building out boxes and not like kind of guessing like, oh, I think this is how big I'm gonna need, and then you end up having to reprint and waste filament. So this third drawer right here is the one I am currently working on right here. I'm currently printing stuff for it, so it's not completed just yet, but I wanted to show you what I do with larger items. So my tripod over here on the left side would be a 10x2 box is what it needs, but I can't print a box that big. So what I did is I didn't print a box at all for it. So I'm just using the sides of the Gridfinity boxes that are already in there. And then I printed out these blank plates right here. So these just sit on top of the grid like that. And then I can put my tripod like that, and it looks like it fits perfectly. I have done a few other 3D prints for this office. I have done a cable management clip for this desk that I am sitting at right here as kind of a way to just manage cables that I use while I'm filming or recording comfort zone or stuff like that. I also made a paper tray as well, just so I can put in all the loose mail that comes in that I need to deal with, paperwork and stuff like that. Anything I still need to deal with and I'm waiting for some reason to deal with it, it goes here, so it's nicely organized there. I have a few other things that I have saved that I want to 3D print for this office as well. My plan is to finish cleaning up this closet, get all those stuff off those workbenches, those tool chests. I really want that to be a workspace to where I can assemble my camera rig, put stuff while I'm filming just temporarily, and just kind of like keep things out of the way while I'm working in my general office space. So I'm gonna keep working at that, but you know, the thing with 3D printing is it takes time to print all of those objects. I understand now why people, when they get into 3D printers, they immediately want another 3D printer, because yeah. After I finish this closet, I'm gonna do the Alex IKEA drawer that I have underneath my desk here. I'm gonna do that. There's actually a Gridfinity grid system that's printed to be the perfect width for that. I'll link that in the description below along with everything else I printed for this video. So I'm gonna organize that as well. Hopefully between the 2 tool chests and that Alex drawer, I can get pretty much everything put away into cabinets, drawers, things like that. Some of the bigger stuff, like I have like C-stands and stuff like that, those will just have to go into a corner, but that's fine. Those things are huge. They're not gonna go into a drawer. But the idea of being able to have everything in this office have a place to live, so when it's not being used, it is in that place, I think it's a possibility. I think I'm gonna get there. It's just gonna take a little while. So if you want that part 2, let me know in the comments below and I'll just keep filming as I'm working on this stuff. My thanks to Autonomous for sponsoring this video. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day.